such a good reminder. I always forget to press the
So it's beautiful. Anyway, go ahead. Beautiful.
Fine. Hi, guys. Okay. I am Jen Gottlieb. I am co-founder of Super Connector Media with my partner, Chris Winfield, who's also my life partner. And we together run a pretty cool event in New York City called Unfair Advantage Live. And it is an event that Robert came to last time, and we connect entrepreneurs to the media. And our entire event and our entire business basically is all based around the idea of connection, and that the true unfair advantage is when it comes to getting yourself in the media, when it comes to getting your message out there, the unfair advantage really is connection and relationships. Because at the end of the day, you can cold pitch all day long to get in the press, to get, you can write so many emails, you can do all the Facebook ads, you can do all the email funnels. But if you have a heart-to-heart personal connection relationship with somebody from the media or just with anybody, that is what is going to be the real shortcut to getting you absolutely whatever you want, and especially with the media. So we found that, at our events, unbelievable magical things happen because we have a media mixer on the second day where we bring in, I think last time we had over 80 of the top media people in New York City come to this party where everyone can just mix and mingle and make friends with other human beings. Doesn't matter, media, not media, just making relationships, making friendships, being you, being authentically you, and talking about what you do. And incredible things happen from that. From our last event, the people that came to our event, she was chatting with somebody from Good Morning America. She didn't even really know that it was a producer from Good Morning America. She was just having a casual conversation with them, making friends, opening up, making a connection. And turns out what he needed for his show was exactly what she was. And a week later, she was on Good Morning America from that meeting. And it wasn't a pitch. It wasn't an email. It was a genuine conversation about life, just chatting, opening up, and connecting. So we just really fully believe in human-to-human, heart-to-heart connection in this world where we're so connected with social media and with our phones, but we're actually, in fact, much more disconnected than we've ever been because we're not taking the time anymore to really make in person-to-person, heart-to-heart, vulnerable, true connection. And at the end of the day, that's what we really need as human beings. And that's how we help each other. And that's how things grow exponentially. So our whole event is about connection. Our whole business is about connection, is about relationships, and not just connecting to the media, but also connecting to your ultimate potential and connecting to yourself. Because you're not going to call in the people that you want to call into your business that are in alignment with you, the types of people that you want to work with, unless you're being truly you and you're truly connected to your authenticity, your unique message, what makes you different from everybody else. And usually what makes you different from everybody else, it's the messy stuff. It's the real stuff. That's the stuff that makes people want to connect with you, right? Because you're a real person just like them. So they can be like, oh, wow, she goes through that, me too. I want to work with her, or I want to work with him because I see myself in him. He's got real issues and real problems, and he went from there to there, and that's what I want to do. So I feel called to work with him. So there's only one you. And so connecting with that you, with what makes you special, we call it like your mess is your message. So connecting with that mess and sharing that as your message is what's going to bring in the people that you want to work with, those dream clients, because their specialty, they're going to be called in to work with you because of that special thing that only you can provide that nobody else can. So connecting to yourself, connecting to the media, connecting to your ultimate potential. So Steve said, I have a huge message then. Well, then we should definitely talk about that. So, I would love to be able to do, my favorite thing to do on these calls is to just get into hot seats and questions and Q&A, because I think a lot comes up with, questions from you guys, and I want to be able to deliver the value that you guys specifically want. So anything from media to PR, a little bit about my background before I started doing what I'm doing now. I was an actress and a performer. I was on TV for 14 seasons on a heavy metal and rock and roll talk show. I was also on, did a Broadway national tour. So I was in the entertainment industry and saw publicity and PR from that standpoint. And now I use all of that, all of what I've learned from that industry as well to help people get confident and really step onto their stage and shine in their own way. And I also have a really big background in mindset coaching, because when I was an actress, I also had a personal training and mindset coaching business where I helped entrepreneurs transform. And what I found when I was helping them with mindset in that way, with lifestyle and weight loss, they were actually really stepping up in their business way more. And I loved that part. So they were getting more confident and being able to do more Facebook Lives and get on stages and speak and start pitching to the media or going to more networking events because they felt more confident. So that piece I bring in now to what we're doing with Unfair Advantage Live and Super Connector Media, because mindset is the basis, and Robert will tell you this, he said it earlier before, to everything. Because when we start to show up in the media, we start to put ourselves out there and talk about what we do, raise your hand, guys, like if you have fears and limiting beliefs around a lot of that, and stuff comes up, right? Like imposter syndrome, and right, and you start to compare yourself to other people, and you start to think like, wow, maybe I should be doing it this way, and he's doing it this way, and she's doing it this way, I don't even know what to do. And all that stuff comes up, and it's so normal. So we really work on that, because once you can get to get some tools to use when those thoughts start to come up, we can just go right past those thoughts, and then that'll just shortcut you to making the connections that you need to make to get your important message in front of people, the people that you want to attract. So that being said, whatever questions that come up, mindset, PR, media, connections, networking, anything, or even just to share, I'd love to just connect with you guys and chat and make this more interactive.
Thank you. I mean, that's amazing. And, just to the point of mindset. So Jen does a mindset call every month as part of the program. And I went to this 3-day in New York and had a really epic experience. And so then I signed up for a year-long accelerator. And, I started that at the beginning of February. And so then I did a mindset with Jen on the beginning of March. And I was trying to teach a communication course that didn't take, and really had to do with my attention and my awareness. And then on the mindset call, just talked about some things, and Jen just then downloaded some magic. And then in the month since that first mindset call to now, my business is exponentially changed in terms of my my direction, my concept, and my revenue. And projects are just flying in left and right. So it is the magic of mindset. So some of you just in that imposter. So if nothing else in the call, if you want just talking about your mindset and get some clues, highly recommend it. And then also the PR media. So testimonial from someone who's improved after being 20 years in the business and 20 years working on himself in 1 month, saw some significant gains. So without further ado, if someone wants to jump on the phone, you can unmute yourself, and let's get rocking. And Anish, do you want to come on the call and ask? You want me to read it for you? I'll unmute you, actually. Anish, do you want to ask? Do you want to talk, or do you want me to just read your question?
Sorry.
You're good. We hear you.
Hi, Anish. Maybe we'll just read it. Oh. She said read it.
Okay, I'll read it. So about showing your messy self, I find that those who are often showing up with that a lot are interesting to me, but more like I would want to meet them or hang out with them, but not so much go to them for their expertise.
Totally. So it kind of depends on, there is a lot of what I like to call vulnerability porn out there. So that's like being vulnerable just for the sake of being vulnerable. And then that becomes kind of inauthentic. So it's the opposite of being vulnerable, and they're kind of just using the vulnerability card to try to, and people can smell that from a mile away. And I agree, when it comes to certain things, maybe you don't want to work with somebody that is just like putting like their entire life up on social media and just like being super, super vulnerable. You want to find a happy medium, and you really want to think about, what is your business? What do you do? What do you offer people? And think about that exact person. So let's say you have like, think about your ideal client, like your avatar. Give that person a name. Let's say, like, I know Jen Kem, she's someone that speaks on our stage. She calls her person Phoebe. Phoebe is her perfect ideal client. So she knows the age of Phoebe. She knows what Phoebe watches on TV. She knows what Phoebe reads. She knows how much money she makes a year. She knows everything there is to know about Phoebe. And then all of the content that she creates is for Phoebe. And that's it. Right? So you can't please everybody. You can't be for everybody. You're not going to be. You don't want to be for everybody. You only want to be for Phoebe. And there's going to be millions of Phoebes out there for you. Believe it. Like, I know we think like, oh, where are all these people? They're out there. And the more that you just share for that person, the more they're going to find you, be attracted to you. So when you focus on that one person, that exact person, you will know exactly how to share to them. Like, it all of a sudden will make sense. Oh, Phoebe would like to hear me share about this, but you probably wouldn't want to hear me share about this. So it's being you and sharing your authenticity for the person that you're trying to help. And if your story that you can tell will really provide Phoebe with that help that she needs, then tell the story. Share it, because the more that we share, the more that we can help other people. And that's it. Does that help a little bit? Just getting super clear on who you're talking to? Yes. Okay, good. Yes, Tracy. Hi.
Hi. Okay. So based on what you said, I completely get that, and going for a target market and that whole concept. But so what I'm working on is called human design. And I have ways to go before I can actually have enough, what I would think, marketable skills to actually start selling services. And it's been kind of a discovery process for me to get to the point of that realization. So basically, I don't know who my target market would be, because everyone's a human. So I mean, basically, I would be helping anyone and everyone that might come across my message. I don't know if it would be best for me to try to hone in on a certain like demographic to market to, or I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Can you tell me a little bit more about why you got involved in this and why you're doing it?
Yeah, so I'll try to make it short, but I've been like in the corporate world for the longest time, and it's always been unfulfilling. I have a real interest in anything artistic, but I don't know that I have enough talent to actually like make a living with that. So I was kind of kicking around other ideas, and during this I came across human design through a podcast, and essentially it's talking about leveraging your aura type and your decision-making strategy in order to just basically live your life with more ease and flow. And through that, I discovered that I'm actually the rarest of all four types. And it was this huge aha moment. Like, I had finally permission to be myself. I no longer started questioning, like, why am I like this or that? And so I just got so passionate about that. And it really, I was like, feel like I was getting message from spirit, like, okay, this is what you're meant to do. You're meant to bring like this message to help other people see what their designs are and how they can live their lives with better flow. So I'm really passionate about that. And I could really help anyone who is open enough to listen to the concept, because it's kind of based on Western astrology and the I Ching and the Kabbalah and the chakra system. So if you're open to hearing things like that, then you may likely be open to hearing about how human design could impact you.
Congratulations on finding the thing that you love and having the balls to go for it. And to really, seriously, that's a really big deal, having a corporate job and then really saying, you know what, I'm not necessarily happy, so I'm going to really go for my real dream, what I really love to do. That's huge. So you should just feel unbelievably proud of yourself, because a lot of people stay in that 9 to 5 because of security and safety and fear. And you're taking this leap and creating a business based around something that you love. So first of all, congratulations. And what I would do if I were you is I would really experiment with this, because you're at a perfect place. You don't really have your clientele yet. So you can see who genuinely is attracted to you by just starting to share your story. So the story that you just shared with me is unbelievably powerful. You were in a corporate 9 to 5 and you were not necessarily happy. So you decided to start exploring this and it changed your life. So sharing that story could be unbelievably empowering and motivating to somebody out there that is having that same issue as you. And then they could be like, hey, I want to learn about this too. And then they'll come to you and they'll ask more questions. What I would do is just start the conversation by talking about your story and how it changed your life, and see who is attracted to it, who starts coming to you. And then as you start talking to those people, what type of people are they? Are they corporate people? Are they moms? Are they, and then you can start to feel out who you like to work with. Who do you love helping? Who is attracted to you in your story? Because you're going to find that there is a specific person that's attracted to you in your story. But you don't really know that yet. So what I would do is just share your story and see who is interested, see who leans in. We like to talk about when you're having a conversation, what really helps you to figure out like the stories that work and the stories that don't, like the stories that can be shared are, so pay attention, when you're talking about something, and if someone, if like their eyes glaze over, if they start doing the meerkat, like looking over your shoulder for somebody else to talk to, or if they lean in a little bit more. Like, when do people lean in? What are you talking about? So see what types of people lean in when you start to tell your story. Do a few Facebook Lives, do a few posts, do a few on social media. I know, like, I just saw you go like this. Does that scare you?
Oh, I've not done a Facebook Live yet.
Okay. Yeah. That shit's scary. I remember when I did my first one. I've been on TV millions of times, and I was the scaredest I've ever been in my whole life to do that Facebook Live.
Can I offer in Business of Architecture, you can do Architecture of Business, you can do your Facebook Live to the 100 people in the group if you want.
Okay, thank you.
You have a limited, yeah. Go ahead, Jen.
That's a gift.
Yay.
So Robert, so we're going to have some accountability here. I think that I
can hold her accountable for that, yeah. Should we landmark her? So when will you have that Facebook Live done by?
Well, when is the best time to do a Facebook Live to actually get people watching?
For you right now, I just want you to do it. So whenever you feel comfortable. This is your first one. It's just to get you to rip the Band-Aid off and to make you feel comfortable. Whenever you feel like doing it, you do it.
Let's say within the next week.
Robert, you gonna hold her to it?
I will hold her to it. Noted.
I promise you, after you do that first Facebook Live, you're gonna want to do them all the time. They're so fun.
Okay.
But the first one is it's scary, but you look, okay, so one of the things that I talk about, and like I have a confidence continuum that I talk about. And one of the pieces, the C's of creating confidence and like feeling really like confident about that when it's fucking scary, is connection and having people like Robert, like this community, to hold you as you do it. So it's not so scary. You've got people cheering you on and rooting you on, and you can even get on there and say, hey guys, this is my first Facebook Live ever. I remember my first Facebook Live, I said, this is my first Facebook Live and I am so scared. And I don't know what I'm doing, and this may be a mess, but I want to share my story. Okay. And I want you to share your story and see what kind of response you get. And then after you've done that Facebook Live, then let's stretch it and you can go start talking about it on your personal page. And that is how you're going to build your business and your clientele.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
I saw your comment. Thank you, Steve.
Steve says, at least you said yet. When no one is watching, I'll be there and ask questions. Perfect. There you go. You've got a buddy in Steve who's going to help you.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Anybody else have a question or comment? Mark.
One, Tracy, if you announce the date in the group first, that'll give more of us a chance to make our schedules open to be there. So that's a helpful thing. That's also a helpful thing if you're going to do it a lot more often, is to give people the framework to meet you there. So that was the one thing. And then I wanted to piggyback on something you said about share your story and see who's attracted. Start the conversation. And very quickly you went into Facebook Lives. And the question that came up for me is, how much sharing and where is the right thing. Like I actually have an ideal client that I worked with a coach to develop, and I've done some things that speak directly to them. And then there's this other weird thing that happens, which is their girlfriends are the ones who are most interested. And the big problem I have is I have their girlfriends asking me for my card. And it's like, how do I coach the girlfriends to get the guys to want to be coached? So that's a two-part question. I'm a men's coach, or a male intimacy coach. Intimacy.
Male intimacy coach. So you work one-on-one with men.
Yes.
What you're saying is the girlfriends end up wanting to work with you?
Yeah, when I'm out networking, I find that a lot more women are excited about it than men are. They want their men to have this toolkit, but it's a difficult sell for them.
It's a difficult sell for the man, but it's a more easy sell for the woman to buy it for the man.
Well, let me be really clear. I have about 30% of my conversations are with women who wish they knew how to get the men to come to see me.
Do you have women clients?
I have, yeah.
Okay, but most of your clients are men.
Well, this is where it gets tricky. My ideal client was established as a man, and then what's actually happening on the ground is about 30% of my clients end up being women. And for different reasons, not because they want to learn intimacy with their partners, but they just want coaching around personal development and career and, breaking limiting belief cycles and things like that.
Awesome. And so so your question is, who are you talking to on these Facebook Lives, or?
Well, it's a two-part question. Number one is, when I'm sharing my story, what is the proper breadth of social media? Do I want to do Instagram TV, Instagram and Facebook Lives and Twitter? Like, what's the sweet spot? Is there, especially since I'm new and I'm just getting the ball rolling and my following is below 400?
What do you like best? What's easiest for you to do? What do you actually show up and do? Because you're not showing up and doing.
I don't do Twitter, even though I am told that's a good one. I like Instagram and Facebook Live. And the way I relate to Instagram is I am pretty good at making little animated vignettes where the text comes in and goes away, and then there's 3 or 4 slides. It's almost like a mini PowerPoint for Instagram. And then I'm really comfortable, very much an attention whore. So when I get on camera, I'm very present and able to talk. So Facebook Live is a great medium for me in that regard.
So I always tell people that there is no right or wrong way to do it. It's whichever one you're going to show up on. So if you like doing Facebook Live and Instagram Live, perfect. Do Facebook Live and Instagram Live at the same time, and just do one thing, have your phone going, have your computer going. That's how we do it. So we just press live on our phone and we press live on the Facebook. And you guys, it's like I just said to Tracy, she's like, well, what time is a good time? Whenever you're going to do it. So right now it's just about doing it and being consistent in it. So if you're going to choose Facebook and Instagram, be consistent in Facebook and Instagram and do it regularly and be there all the time and stick to that one. I would rather you stick to just one channel or two that you know you're going to do consistently than be all over the map and not be able to be super consistent with it.
Okay, so consistency. And then you said turn on my phone and my computer. Is one Instagram and the other Facebook Live? Is that how you do it?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
And then this is actually a question for Rob and you.
Yeah.
What about podcasting? Like, Rob, you've really leveraged that. You've done a lot of it. Has that worked for you?
I've been doing my podcast for 3.5 years. It really started off as a fuck you to not want to do workshops anymore. I was tired of the whole enrollment process, but I still had things to say. So then I was like, I'll do 6 podcasts. Wait, what's a podcast? How do I do that? And so from those 6 podcasts, I think Stephen actually was one of my first people listening. It just went to another 6 and another 6. And all of a sudden I have a podcast that kept going. The ROI has been tremendous. And I'll give you the ROI for me, and then I'll pass it to Jen to see what her opinion is. But the first is the schedule and the reoccurrence had held me accountable, because there are people like Stephen who are like every week, on there. And I know I'm like, I don't have to, but I want to show up. And so putting myself out there and creating a schedule has produced so much content. So the content I've used for writing. So I can take the podcast and use transcription software to get that into text very easily. Trent is a good one. It's led me to at least 5 clients directly that I know about. So, $30,000, maybe close to $40,000 in revenue from podcasting. People are reminded, oh yeah, Rob is available to do coaching. So it's been led to ROI. And then there's street cred. I mean, you say that I'm a podcaster, like I'm not a brain scientist, but I'm a brain scientist. I have a Nobel Peace Prize. I do a podcast. Oh, really? You have a podcast? Is common, like what happens. People love podcasters. So you get kind of instant street cred from it.
We haven't saturated that yet. Like the world can take one more podcast.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then a simple plug from mine. I did a podcast on doing podcasts. So I was at a podcast conference and I did a podcast on doing podcasts. It's number 87 on Tough Love. And I'll put the link somewhere intelligent. And I'll pass it back to Jen for any thoughts she has.
Yeah, I love that. And I never, like I said at the beginning of the call, a lot of people say that about podcasts. Like there's so many podcasts out there, but there's only one you.
Yeah.
There's only one you. There's only one person that's going to do it in your way. And somebody's going to find you that only you exist, and you're going to be the answer to their problem. And I also agree with Robert in the way of, well, yes, street cred, social proof, amazing, and content creation. So there's no easier way to create content than just talking, because you said you love talking and you love being on camera or being recorded, and that's one of your sweet spots. That's when you feel in flow. That's when you feel like you're in your zone of genius. So I do what you love, do what feels good, because when you're doing what feels good and what you love, the genius is going to come out of you. So then you're going to be talking and you're going to be spewing out amazing, amazing, amazing content that you can repurpose and reuse, right? You can have that transcribed and have blogs made out of it, have Instagram posts made out of it, Facebook posts, create a course out of it. You could do so much with that content. So I would say to somebody who doesn't really love being recorded or talking, then don't do that. Write a blog. But if you love talking and recording yourself, and that's something that you're really good at, definitely do a podcast. If it's not just to, actually have a podcast and have people listen to you and amazing, that's awesome. But also for content creation, because that's when you're going to come up with your most precious, amazing, ingenious content.
Rob, you were using your podcast and your Facebook Live at the same time, right?
This is the way I do it. I use Zoom. I use Zoom Webinar. This is Zoom Meeting.
Right.
Webinar is an upgrade. I think it's an extra $40 a month.
Okay.
So Zoom Webinar records good sound and good video, and then it streams live to Facebook Live. So every Thursday, 10 a.m. I did one with Jordan Shapiro today. It was amazing. Actually, a good guy. I should introduce you to Jen, but good guy. So I did a show with him for 40 minutes, and then I have a podcast producer who takes the audio, puts music on, puts the bumper I record, after the show, and pops it up to a service that propagates out. So for me, it's very simple. I do one 40-minute show. I have something on Facebook Live that's of value and gets attention, and then I have the audio that I can turn into a podcast, and then the video, like Jen said, you can clip into interesting Instagram. I'm less doing that now just because of the direction of my business, but it's great content. So,
and you're still hosting that on your website, right? You can go to the podcast on the website.
Yeah. So, well, technically the podcasts are hosted on a podcast streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
So they specialize in download speed. And so Libsyn's one, Blueberry, there's plenty out there. I use Podicize is the one I use. So if you want more details of that, you can directly message me.
And then PR for that is the next level up, right? Like I said to Tracy to announce ahead of time that she's doing it on the Facebook group. What's sort of obviously cross-promoting in Instagram would be a great way to do things on Instagram to get people to check out the podcast. But what's the sort of runway for PR for something like that? Where's the sweet spot to start small and then build up?
I would start I would want to look at all your stuff, but just start double downing on really creating content posting video, posting amazing posts on Facebook, on Instagram, sharing your stories, sharing tips, just being as omnipresent as you possibly can, building your following. We're learning more and more now that audience is everything. So building up that following number and the engagement on your Instagram posts is really important. The media really loves to see that when you start to pitch them. And then you know, I would really just get a lot of engagement in your community. Start asking in your posts, asking people to engage. What do you think about this? Share with this. Like really get engagement and build a tribe and build community first within your actual, what you have control of, like your social media and even your email list. Writing emails, building that email list. Do you have an opt-in on your website?
I do.
Yeah.
It needs refinement, but yeah, I do. And I've sort of abandoned the idea of an email list, or it wasn't high on my priority list because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. And it just felt like the thing everybody's doing. And is it really what I need to do? And now I get it clearer that yes. And from an advertising or public relations standpoint, wait till I have more followers, more engagement before I try to do anything commercial, like advertising the podcast or anything like that?
No, I would do it simultaneously.
Okay.
I wouldn't wait for anything. Take action. Take action now. What are you waiting for? You're doing it. You're helping.
So what's the right size for someone who's got less than 500 followers on their Instagram and, you know, about 1,000 friends on my Facebook page?
What's the right size? Is that what you said?
In terms of promotional advertising budgets. Yeah, what's the best bang for the buck? Like, should I budget $1,000 for the year, or should I, you know?
I don't know your business that well, but I don't think you need to budget anything to start making connections with the media.
So just connect. Okay, I got it.
So the best way to do to start ever with any kind of media at all, don't ever spend any money. People don't realize this, and Robert knows we teach this at UA. It's called the Top 20, but all of the connections that you need are usually already within your network, and you just don't even realize it. So I've actually gotten a lot of media and opportunities by using this exact exercise. It's really, really powerful. So you guys can all do it because it's a way to not spend a dime and just actually get a lot of connections that will lead you to getting the media that you want. So think about something specific that you want, like a media outlet that you would like to be on, a magazine that you'd like to be featured in, a website, a blog, or a local television network. Think of something that you know would be great for you. And then what I want you to do is you're going to make 3 columns on a piece of paper, okay? In the first column, you're going to do a brain dump of 20 people that you know that could possibly connect you to somebody that can help you get that. So let's just say you really want to be featured in Elephant Journal. Does everyone know that one? I don't know. That's the first one that came to mind. You guys are in a relationship. Elephant Journal would be a great place for you to write an article, I think, Mark. So I want you to just do it. It could be somebody like your sister's friend that has like a colleague that has a blog, and like they know somebody from out, right? Like anybody that could be connected to anyone, your kids, parents, friends, your next door neighbor, your parents, your partner, anybody. List of 20 people, okay? Then in the second column, you're gonna rate that person. How influential are they? 1 to 10. So let's say you know Gwyneth Paltrow. I would say she's a 10 on how influential she is, okay? But then you get to the next column, the third column, you're gonna rate that person from 1 to 10. How likely are they to help you get that thing? So Gwyneth Paltrow may be a 10 for how influential she is, but how likely is she to help me? Probably a 0. But let's do another example. So someone on my top 20 list would be Chris Winfield, who's my partner and my business partner and my boyfriend. He is pretty influential because he has connections to a lot of people that I would need. So I would put him as like a 9 at influence, maybe even a 10. And then how likely is he to help me? I would hope it would be a 10. So what you're going to do is you're going to add up all the scores for each person, okay? And you're going to sort them in descending order. So the highest score first and the lowest score last. Then for 20 days, you're going to reach out to one person a day. on that list. And the reason that we do the highest score to the lowest score is because it's much easier to reach out to the people with the highest scores. Those are the easy wins. So you want to it's scary to reach out to people. So we want to start getting wins and make it a little bit easier and easier. So by the time you get to the hardest person, you're a pro and it's not that hard anymore.
So you start with the lowest score.
You start with the highest score.
The highest score.
Descending order.
Got it.
Not ascending, descending.
Got it.
Descending. Yep. And then if you, let's say you don't have a relationship with that person, so this is how we do everything at Unfair Advantage Live. So let's say you have someone that you can reach out to, but they're lower on the score of how likely they are to help you. You don't really have a relationship with them. So it would be weird to just ask them for help, right? That would be weird. And we always say, like, you want to create value for somebody. So I'll use an example in my life of how I created value for somebody without going for the ask. So I wanted to get featured in Well and Good. Do you guys know Well and Good? It's a blog, Well and Good, because I was in health. Anyways, so I was connected. I did my top 20 list, and I got the connection to one of the writers at Well and Good. I didn't know her, so it would be weird for me to just ask, hey, can you help me get into Well and Good? I really want to get in Well and Good. That's not the way to do it. So I want to provide value for her. So I really thought about it and looked into it, and I found out a couple things about this woman. I found out that she was writing a book. And I also found out that she was a single young woman living in New York City, okay? So my idea was, all right, how can I provide value for her? I got the intro, and I decided I'm gonna create a brunch. I'm gonna invite a couple other single women so we can all be friends. I'll provide her with connection and friendship. And then one of the women that I invited happened to work at Hay House, which is a book publishing company. So I'm gonna connect this woman with other women. We're gonna have a fun brunch, and I'm gonna bring somebody from a book thing. And so she's going to have a great time and people are going to connect. And then I'm going to be able to have a relationship with her. So I create this brunch. I invite writer from Well and Good because I got the connection, come to this brunch. She loved it. At the brunch, we all talked about what we needed help with. I mentioned that I wanted to be featured in articles. I wanted to write. I wanted to speak. A week later, I didn't even have to ask her. She emailed me, hey, Jen, I'd love to feature you in Well and Good. So that is how the top 20 works. Right? That's how it works. It takes a lot more work than just cold pitching people. But notice, because I put that work in, I now have a forever relationship with this woman. Now when we pitch our clients to her, we're right at the top. When she comes to me asking me for things, we have a friendship. So that's long game. That's a long game relationship. So we always say that real true connection is what makes us move forward. And I created a real true connection with her, and I got what I wanted. Does that make sense, guys?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, I want to give a story of what happened to me with the Media Mixer at UAL. So I was at this Media Mixer, and it to be honest, it was like, for me, it was like the high school party gone mad. It was just like all these people running around, and it was loud, and all my insecurities came up, and I was like, oh, no one wants to dance with me. So I sat in the corner, drinking my water, and then I was like, okay, just get back into it. And I wandered around. I bumped into this guy, and we just started talking, and it wasn't any goal with this man. I just started talking, and all of a sudden we had like a little men's group. We had like this mini. And I called Kent Blackman, which some of you know, we talked over, and this other guy, James, came over, and the four of us were just chatting, 4 men. And all of a sudden he was like, oh, I have this magazine. And I'm like, I was like, well, can I submit an article? He's like, yes. And so I submitted an article. I emailed him from the connection. He's like, great. And then within 2 or 3 weeks, it was published. And it really wasn't about, at that point, I was so tired of the media. I'm trying to look cool. Pitching, I was just like, I just want to talk to someone. It was really like, I just want to talk to someone. And then from that, this great connection happened that, again, I think we'll be friends and we'll be connected. So it really is, it's opposite of like the dog eat dog, striving, looking cool, it really is about, hey, I have a person, you're a person, let's see how we can benefit each other.
Exactly. I love that story so much, Robert, because it's exactly what we teach working. And it works. It's amazing.
Yep.
So powerful.
Yep.
So I had a question that was left from the 20 days thing. If the object isn't to cold call people, but to create a value relationship with them, how do you justify that or rectify that with the idea of spending 20 days cold calling people? Or did I miss that?
Yeah, so I would, the easy ones, you could probably be able to do one a day for 20 days, but the ones that are a little bit harder, so what I would do instead of like asking them on that day, I would take one action step towards creating that relationship on that day. So it doesn't necessarily have to be actually the outreach or the ask yet, but it could be the action step to doing it.
Got it.
You get that? So it would
Yeah.
be like I created the brunch. I invited all the girls, right? Or, whatever it is, or just opening the conversation, or even let's say it's an influencer that you don't know that well. Influencers love it. Like, how can you provide value without even talking to that person? Well, people love it when people review their podcasts or review their books. So like you can go, and I know Robert would probably love it if you went and wrote a review on his podcast, screenshotted it, and just DM'd it over to him. Don't ask for anything. Hey, I just want to let you know I wrote a really great review for your podcast. Thanks for everything. If you go and ask Rob for something after you did that, like a week later, Rob, would you say yes?
I would say yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because you provided value for him. You
Right.
went out.
Creating value is a magnet. It's
Yeah.
like, right. I get it. It's beautiful.
And
Cool.
there's a vulnerability in it too. It's just like, you have to kind of show up with your open heart as too, because that people can feel the difference. They can feel the scam underneath the smile compared to, okay, I'm just really here to provide service. And sometimes it's a pay it forward thing too, where I'm providing energy here, believing that the energy from the universe is going to come in a different direction. And that happens to me constantly. I'm so blessed with those pieces of the puzzle.
So good.
I love that. It feels so much better to add value to something than to ask for something in a cold way.
Yeah.
Totally. And you're giving somebody the gift also of, well, whenever you give, like, create a win-win relationship, and then you get to help somebody and then they get to help you. How good do you feel when you help somebody? Like, that there's no better feeling in the world. Whenever I don't feel happy or I'm feeling in a shitty mood, I remind myself, go help somebody, go do something nice. And if I go do something nice for somebody else, I always feel better. So, just providing value for someone is immediately going to increase your mood, increase your frequency, which is going to bring better things to you. And then therefore, when you do something for somebody else and then they reciprocate, you're giving them the gift of feeling great too, because then they get to help you. And that's going to make them feel good.
Good, Mark? Okay. There was a question that went through the chat I saw. Do you think Facebook is still the most effective way to market?
Do I think Facebook is? I think the most effective way to market is whichever way you're going to market. So, I think a lot of it all really depends on consistency. So you want to be consistent in whichever way you choose. And so if you're going to start to market on Facebook or share on Facebook, do it. Commit to it and do it. And yes, then it will be successful. If you decide that you want to do it on Instagram, commit to it and be consistent, and it will be successful. I really think it's all about consistency. I think the thing that people miss and why it doesn't work is people show up, they're like, okay, hey, I'm going to show up and do Facebook Lives, and then they forget, or they don't do it all the time, and then they do it for a week, or they do it for a month, and then they stop. It's really about, even if it doesn't work for the first month, keep going and keep going and keep going and keep being consistent in whatever way you choose to show up. And whatever way feels because you're not going to be consistent if you don't feel good about what you're doing. So if you hate Facebook, don't do it on Facebook. Do it somewhere else where you like it. But if you're cool with Facebook, then choose to do it and go all in and be super consistent.
I'd also add to this, like, I'm in a Facebook lull at the moment. And what that means is I'm so sick. I'm so sick of Facebook. I'm sick of me on Facebook, and I'm sick of everyone else on Facebook. I'm just sick of all the posts. But then I know in 2 or 3 weeks, I'll be like, I love Facebook, and I'll come up with some writing in the middle of the night, and I'll post, and then I'll get attention and energy from it. And so really is this authentic relation to that medium you feel in the moment, and really setting expectations around that.
And also, I'm building your email list. I mean, the more I'm in Lewis Houses at Mastermind, and I was just there, and they've just put such it was a big deal around growing your email list, because with social media, you don't own that. They own it. But with your email list, that's one thing that you own. That's real estate. So you own that. That's not going anywhere. With Facebook, they can change the algorithm and then your people never see your stuff and you have no control over it. So I would really put some effort, doesn't have to be a ton of effort, but put effort into having a good opt-in and collecting emails, because those you own. And there is definitely a lot of value in that, in having a great email list.
All right, do we have a final question for Jen before we let her go? Back to creating her magic.
This is fun. Thank you, guys.
Does Stephen want to talk about mindset?
Anybody?
Oh, was that a bit of a hint, Rob?
No, never.
So I know all of the concepts of have the content, talk authentically, and all of that. The bit I struggle with, I think what Rob was poking at, for me to ask a question is that where I go through energy levels of going up and down, there's times that I don't want to do a Facebook Live on the Thursday that I've scheduled it. And I've seen a couple of other people that are doing regular Facebook Lives or YouTube Lives and stuff. And while I'll still watch their ones when they're not in a good mood, they're not that good to watch. And therefore, and especially the journey I've been on over the last year personally, my authentic life and the comment I made right at the beginning about I've got a big story because I've been really messy, people don't want to hear that. They don't. Where I've been for the last year, people don't want to see that. They sure as hell don't want to see that from their coach. So how do I balance that?
Who told you that they don't want to see it?
Because when I did it, they stopped freaking listening.
Did they?
Yeah. The number, again, I can even almost rationalize it into the friends that I've lost over the last year and the clients that I've lost. They weren't my ideal client anyway. So I can rationalize that. But even then on the confidence side of it, it doesn't help. And my ideal clients, they're not, and again, I know it's even through business networking locally, I know my ideal clients aren't at the networking that I go to. But I can't get to or I don't necessarily know where to find where my ideal clients are. And even what we would do as a tribe, and I know how I can help them.
Where do you get your ideal clients right now?
At the moment, I don't. At the moment, I'm struggling with work. I'm struggling to get money in. And my ideal client for me is someone who's into energy work, spirituality, does yoga, has a mindfulness practice, but has a real job. They haven't given up the corporate world to go and do that, but that is an important part of who they are. And I want a community of people that have all of these different things as part of who they are, but they just happen to be a solicitor, an accountant, or a graphic designer, because I know amongst them they would then work better together and I would work better with them than the accountant that doesn't do a mindfulness practice.
So I have a question for you about sharing. So when do you feel, I get it with like not feeling, like you want to share all the time, but when do you feel the most in flow? Like when I know that when I'm talking about what I love or doing what I love, or like when I was performing in my Broadway show, I could be in so much pain and so tired and not want to do the show. But the second the lights came up, I felt like I had all the energy in the world and time stopped. When you feel in that way, we all have that thing, like when we're in our zone of genius and we're in flow and like it doesn't matter how tired we are, we have the energy to do it because we just love it so much. What are you doing? What are you talking about? Huh?
That's when I'm coaching. That's when I'm pushing people's buttons. That's when I'm spotting the patterns that they're repeating, because I've been through them, I've done them. And therefore, when someone else is sitting there saying that they're getting one thing from the actions that they're doing and they're clearly not, I'll point it out to them.
Coaching. So you're saying coaching when you feel like that. You love coaching.
Yeah.
So you need to do as much of that as you possibly can, and that's how you're going to attract your people. So whether that's maybe doing a coaching like call like this, like what Rob's doing, and just like saying on your Facebook, hey guys, I'm doing a free Zoom call where I'll do coaching on mindset, and if you want to show up, like amazing, it's at this time. And just start offering value for people and being able to show up in the way that you love to show up. So I tell people all the time, if something doesn't feel right, if it feels yucky and it feels like you're supposed to be doing it or you don't have the energy to do it, don't do it, because it's going to come off inauthentic. So always remember where your zone of genius is and find ways to be in your zone of genius all the time. So if you love coaching, start coaching. Start putting yourself out there and telling people that you offer it. Start doing calls like this for free. Just so that you can be in your zone of genius in coaching and helping people. And you will just start attracting people just by being in that state, because you're really good at it and you're going to be so excited and you're going to be energetic and people are going to be drawn to it because you love it.
I know the theory, and that's where I'm struggling with it, because I've done that. I help people. I do stuff for people, and then they implement the stuff that I tell them, but go and pay someone else. And
well, I think you're making very definite assumptions based on things that happened in the past.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to ask you to do, because everything I'm saying, you're like, I've done that before, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I've done that before, it doesn't work. So if you keep saying I've done that before, it doesn't work, nothing's going to work for you. So the thing that I would ask you to do, and this is just a tactical tool that I use every single morning, and I'm sure you know this because you're a coach, but I want you to get into that mindset and visualize every single day you living your ideal perfect life and everything working out exactly the way that it should. And if you can do that for 5 minutes every single morning and just visualize your day going exactly the way it's supposed to, and everybody, and you're coaching and you're living in your zone of genius and you are just helping people and serving people and seeing it so clearly every single day, that's going to help your subconscious mind drop this idea of I did it before, it didn't work. I did it before, it didn't work, because you're going to actually believe, oh, this works, because I just saw it in my mind. The subconscious mind can't tell the difference between a memory and reality. So if we replay in our mind what we want to happen over and over and over again, we're going to start to subconsciously take actions without fear towards that thing that we want. It's going to be a lot easier. So what I would ask for you is to be more open to the idea that every single thing you want is already happening and working out for you exactly as you would like it to.
Yep.
It's awesome. I've been telling him this, Jen. He just said it better than me.
Steve, I want you to believe. Have you read, I'm sure you've read all the books. Have you read The Science of Getting Rich?
No.
Wallace D. Wattles. Robert, have you read The Science of Getting Rich?
I have.
Chris and I read that every single morning. It's not even necessarily about money. It's about the law of attraction. It is like the best book about it, and it's amazing.
I'm enjoying David Neagle too, based on
yes.
he's a mindset coach, and he's got a podcast that's really easy to listen to and super fun. So he's one of your clients and pretty magical.
I mean, I could go all day about the law of attraction, but we don't have enough time. But I would definitely start looking into that and start visualizing just before you go to sleep in the morning what your ideal day looks like, and it going exactly as planned. Detail, and then feel immense gratitude for it. Because when you feel grateful, it's impossible to feel scared or insecure or like nothing's working, right?
And just to finish up the piece, like in this group on some level, like there's no financial output of this group for me, but just the positive feeling I have about bringing people on and introducing, and the connections, is the ROI is significant. So it's in this world where we're so easy to isolate. We actually live in the most isolated time in our history. To build things for connections, connection begets more connection, energy begets more energy, and then you become a magnet to attract. But if you sit in this isn't going to work, your ego is going to ensure this doesn't work. And so really, to the point of what Jen's saying, it's like, it's all mindset, and you can have it if you can have it.
It's honestly, like, my entire life has been manifested. Robert knows this. I told my story at UA, and my life changed when I started completely believing that I had everything already that I wanted. And you really, that's what it's about. It's feeling gratitude for things before they really exist, but they already exist within you. And if you say that that you can't do something or something's not happening for you, that's the energy you're attracting. Like attracts like. Our thoughts are energy, and we are a frequency, and it's science. And whatever frequency we're giving off is exactly the frequency that's going to be attracted to us. So if we have a frequency of abundance and love and excitement and gratitude, that's what's going to come to us. If we have a frequency of, oh, that's not going to work, it's scarcity, there's not enough to go around, that kind of mindset, then that's exactly what we're going to call to us too. And the fastest way to get into that abundant, grateful mindset is to do a little bit of visualization and meditation in the morning, write a gratitude list, right? And tell someone you love them. That's a good one too.
You can tell me, Stephen, I'll accept your love.
There you go.
There you go.
Yes, Mark?
I wanted to ask Stephen if he was open to one more suggestion from me.
You get the thumbs up.
The thought I had was that when you were talking about telling the messy story, that you had maybe miscast yourself in that story as not the hero, and that maybe the story of your messiness framed in the story of your triumph is the way the story wants to be told. I don't know if that's true or not for you, but that was the thought I had. Make sure you're the hero of your own story.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Jen, for your time and your attention and your energy. And the website, Chris Winfield, is the best way to find you?
UnfairAdvantageLive.com is to learn more about our event. And you can find me on Instagram I'll type in the chat, my Instagram handle, Jen Gottlieb, or Facebook, Jen Gottlieb, and my website, I'll type in the chat too. But really, if you want to check out the event, go to UnfairAdvantageLive.com, and I'll take that too. AdvantageLive.com. Yep.
I will put these URLs in the notes right underneath the post, and the chat will be available as well. And well, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure. And yeah, it's just amazing. Thank you all for participating in this group. And it's been a pleasure for me. And the group will definitely be alive for another couple of weeks because Tracy is going to do her Facebook Live within the week. So I'll make sure to send you that link, Jen, when it happens, so you can check it out as well. All right.
Thank you all. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Robert and Steve.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. All right. That's it. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.